Hello again, everyone. So, in our last lesson, we started talking about Flexbox features, and then we realized, whoa, you can do a lot with these things. So, that means we're going to continue with some of these features in this particular lesson. So, I've already prepared our HTML file for you. I created a container div and 3 different divs inside, and I added paragraphs into them. And now, let's go to our CSS file and start talking about some new features. So first, let's determine our container properties. Let's give display flex and flex direction row. I add border and padding values for the boxes. I'll set flex basis 60% without giving grow and shrink value to our boxes. So when we look at it, we can't see all of our boxes because it didn't fit on one line. If you remember, we said that we can show more than one line using flex wrap. So if we set this feature to be a wrap, we will be able to see all the boxes. When we change the flex basis to 25%, we can see all the boxes in one line. Flex wrap feature will take 3 values. Single line will use no wrap, that's used by default. There's also a wrap reverse feature. So to better understand that, I'll go to the HTML file and write 1, 2, 3 in the boxes. And as we see when we use the wrap reverse, it starts to hide from the last box. So I want to show flex flow without switching to our other features. Now, thanks to this feature, we can use flex direction and flex wrap values all at the same time. The first value is flex direction, and the second value is flex wrap. We can now delete them, and nothing has changed. So let's comment on these changes. Now we can talk about a few more features. So first, I want to make a big box class name is flex container by going to the HTML file and add some boxes to it. So let's style them in our CSS file. I give background and height values to our container. And display flex feature. All right, so now it's time for the items. So I'll give the width and height. Let's make it 50 pixels. And I'll enter background and border values. Let's take a look so far at our work. All right, so now we want to change the position of the boxes. So for this, we'll use the Align Items feature. When we first will do a flex start, we look at nothing changing, right? This feature aligns items up. Now we made center and aligned in the middle. And when we make flex end, it is aligned with the bottom. Doesn't align when we stretch. So the height of the items increases according to the container. This is by default. But when we give the boxes a height value, there is a change. Even if the container size changes here, the items will grow or shrink accordingly. Cool, so now let's talk about another feature, this justify content. So let's make align items center first. Let's say flex start in justify content. All right, so nothing's changed yet. The items are aligned to the left, and that's the default property. When we flex N, the items are aligned right. When we do the center, it aligns with the center. When we say space between, it leaves a gap between them. And as we can see, first item left aligned, last item right aligned. So when we say space around, there are gaps in between. There's also a gap on the sides. So there's a gap in all directions. So when we say space evenly, it aligns so that all the elements are equally spaced. And as you can see, the gaps in between are synchronized. All right, so what do you think? Before your introduction to Flexbox features, we had to make them, I would say a little bit more painstakingly, adjusting the padding and the margin versus values and so forth. Mathematical calculations can sometimes be exhausting. However, what happens when you realize that things can be just a little easier? That's why in this lesson, we talked about align items and justify content. And didn't you find that it provides a great way to align the items pretty quickly, too? So, in our next lesson, we will continue with Flexbox features. Goodbye for now. I'll see you soon.